Hi, welcome to the channel, and welcome to another instalment of our Masterclass series. This is a series of videos where I am joined by a high-level Pokemon player or players to discuss a Pokemon archetype or element of gameplay they're particularly proficient at or with. These videos should hopefully serve as an educational resource for the VGC community as a whole for older and newer players alike. This week we are joined by Dyl Yeomans to talk about Urshifu Single Strike. Dyl is a newer player who's just been on an incredible run at the European International Championships, finishing second place in the largest event of all time. Urshifu Single Strike, despite being less popular than the Rapid Strike variant, is an incredible threat into a lot of pieces in the meta. Its dark and fighting typing threatens so much, and it is one of the biggest single threats of damage outside of the restricted Pokemon. Dyl has been using this Pokemon right through the Scarlet and Violet era, so is definitely a qualified expert to speak about it. And without any further ado, let's get into the conversation. Hi Dyl, thanks for coming on. Why don't you introduce yourself to the channel and then we'll get into Urshifu.
Thanks for having me. I'm Bill. I love Urshifu Darks. Like, it probably is just my favorite mon like in this gen to use. Um, which is like weird to say because I'm not really. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Urshifu as a concept, but it is just so like Pterodot Wicked Blow is the most fun thing like you could click in the whole game, and I've used it on like basically every team for like the past, since it was added in. So I feel like I could probably say a little bit about it.
Absolutely, and just recently piloted it to second place at EUIC, so I definitely think it's
Yeah.
super relevant. So we'll get.
I brought it to Bristol locals that Matt has seen.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. I've seen you tear through Bristol locals with just Pterodot Wicked Blow. So
Or bubble at 3-1.
I mean,
One or the other.
happens to us all. Right, let's get into what makes Urshifu so strong. So, why is it good? These are sort of my sort of high level points, and they will probably give you a bit more of a idea why these things are good.
Yeah. So the main reason to use it is like those second like points 2 and 3 we don't really have to go over. It's like everyone knows what Urshifu does. Like Unseen Fist is insane. Critting, like having a move that always crits is insane. Like Urshifu Rapid Strike is the most used Pokemon like by far for like the past few formats that it's been allowed in. So like the question really is like why would you use the Dark one instead when Rapid Strike is like no, there's a reason everyone uses Rapid Strike. Uh, I mean, it's a better defensive typing. It just destroys Incin, who is the second highest usage mon, and you can stack its damage with. It's easier to stack its damage with like Rain or like there's no anti synergy with Qian Pao because it doesn't need Sash. Like some like better defensive type means you can have Mystic Water on it, stuff like that. But Urshifu Dark, Dark is just one of the best offensive types in the game. There's like with water, you've got stuff like Rillaboom and Amoonguss and like all the dragons, like or any other water type. Urshifu, I mean, both Urshifus like with each other, but like so many things can switch in on Surging Strikes, and they have to like because it's the highest usage mon. Every team needs so many things that can switch in on Surging Strikes, and that kind of just like that's like the last point that we've got there. Uh, because of that, there's kind of just a gap. Like there's so many less dark resists, so like Urshifu Single Strike can really just like find its way in and do a lot of work.
Absolutely, I think it's another really good point. Which is just that its priority move is so much stronger.
Sucker Punch is so good, yeah. Fun fact: I've never gone to a major and not had Sucker Punch on the team. Like I've had Hirschfu Dark every time, except for one time we had Qian Pao instead. And when neither of them, when they aren't legal, I've had a King Gambit on the team. Like it's just such an incredible move.
Absolutely, it's strong for a reason, and yeah, very
Yeah,
good point.
and I think that first point that you put in is like very important as well because like there's actually a lot of things that double resist Hirschfu Water, like Dragon Flying or like Amoonguss. Um, dark fighting is just near perfect. Like the only dark resists fighting, which like fighting is neutral against. Uh, dark, which fighting is strong against, and then fairy, which is the issue, which we'll talk more about as we go on.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that obviously there are ways to tailor your Dark Edge food to be anti fairy if you really want, and not the
Yeah,
standard
yeah,
sachet like
because
you can see Poison
I
Jab
will.
on band or
Yeah, I will say I've mostly just played with Sash. I'm not an expert on like Scarf or Band or like whatever weird things people run, but yeah, Terror Poison, Poison Jab, and stuff like that, or just like Poison Jab in general, or like Iron Head or whatever is like it's all good options that you can have on the choice band sets.
Sure. Yeah, it's a really deep move pool. Like, you don't really need to run more than detect, wicked blow, sucker punch, close combat, but it does actually have a really deep move pool. You see it sort of exploited a bit more on rapid strike dark.
Well, I was telling you before that I was trying out Wei and Dan and Jack's team the other day, and like their choice bando shares it's U-turn poison jab as the last two slots. Like they don't have sucker punch, and which is like choice to sucker punch is stupid. I completely agree with not having that, but U-turn just feels incredible as well. Yeah.
I've got a really good so I ran banded in the not the GC just gone the one before, and I was choiced into sucker punch. I got to endgame where their Rillaboom stalled me out with sucker punch PP, and then I won with banded struggle, which is really funny. So,
base power struggle again, is it like 50?
yeah, it's like 50.
Yeah, I guess that's not bad, is it?
No, it was so silly. They were just spamming fake outs so that I couldn't sucker punch him, and it was such a stupid end game. Yeah, so let's.
They should have been counting, when you run out. But then also you should have been like 7 PP or something so that they can't count. So.
Yeah. So we will look at some of its notable results. Yeah, when looking at it, we noticed that it's come fourth in the last 2 World Championships, which is really impressive. It's got load of wins this generation as well. 3 regional wins. Internet second with yours truly. Well, it's just really. It's got some really impressive results, and sort of the teams you see here sort of highlight its versatility. It's really is quite. It's really versatile.
Yeah, there's a few archetypes that we'll talk about. Like a couple of these teams we're going to talk about, but some of them like we just wouldn't. It's like it can really just be on anything. Like Ben Grisma's like hard trick room team. You see it on hard trick room quite a lot because like slower shooting through protecting trick room is just insane, and like that's not really something. Again, like I mostly know how to talk about Sash. I don't know too much about Band. But the fact that they can like do stuff like that is just great. Bowie's team is very interesting. I don't like obviously I understand it, but I haven't thought about the team that much, so I don't completely get why it's like dark over Water Rush. But that's just what like showing again, like you can just kind of put it on anything. It's just a great mon.
Absolutely, and I think you can stack it with other dark types quite easily. Like quite often on the same team as Insane. You can
Sash ones don't have a typing, like not all defensively they don't.
Yeah.
Like it's whatever, and then like it's the offensive types that matter, and then like stacking up multiple dark types offensively is like never really that bad.
Absolutely. So we're going to start looking at some of the sample builds that we have decided to highlight. Where do you want to start, Dyl?
That's a good question. I think let's look at Edu's team. Like it's at the top.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very good example of kind of the things that you would see with the mon. So like this was kind of like I think the tournaments after this, there's 1 or 2 where Dark Rush actually had higher usage than Rapid Strike because of like mostly compositions like these where it was just like saw like the strength of just neutral wicked blow, even though Fairy Bolt was everywhere, but we don't worry about that. So like the things that are nice like we'll talk about the synergies with some of the mons. You got fake out Urshifu. Like, we don't really need to go into like why that's insane. It just is. Like it's like you can just lead it, get guaranteed value down almost like into a lot of things, and like you can like pivot out, get your fake out back in, get another just guaranteed hit through protect. It's insane. You got the tailwind. Like again, tailwind Ursh. Don't really have to get into that. It's all we've been seeing for a couple of years now. Like one of Urshifu's, like, if you can even call it a weakness, is that it's not the fastest thing. It's like kind of middling speeds in like the current meta or current gen. So Tailwind just like kind of pushes that so much further. And then the most notable thing is the Golden Go. This is like one of the key partners that you'd want to have with it in this gen because it's your way to hit fairies. Urshifu kind of deals with everything. Golden Go also deals with everything. Like Make It Rain Shadow Ball, like it's an insane mon. But Make It Rain, like covering for any fairies that would want to deal with Urshifu is just so valuable. Absolutely. I think like Golden Go is probably the best mon that's done this as well because of it being a spread move. Like that's really what you want when like you've got one strong single target mon. You don't want to have you don't have to call the slots that it's coming in or like really have to what's it called, like double up on something just for if you want to cover a terror or like have to commit too many things to like one slot. Like Make It Rain is just the best thing you could be clicking next to an Urshifu, really.
Absolutely, yeah. It was really scary offensive synergy between those two, and then we can we'll
And
just
then
go through.
if we look at Terran's version after,
Yeah,
yeah, because this is almost the same team, but he's got the Landorus instead of the Insane, which isn't really relevant to the issue discussion, but I think I brought a very similar team as Terran to the EUIC. It was the same 6 mons, just with like a few set differences. I was like Flying, Golden Go, and Ghost Landorus. But I think an interesting change here is the Electro Web on the Raging Bolt as like another way of speed control. It's like again, it's kind of an awkward speed stat, so any ways to like make it go faster is just so good.
yeah. I
And,
think
I'm kind of shocked it wasn't there on like the older teams as well.
I think it's quite interesting, especially with like webs, icy wind, stuff like that. It's like you can break sashes, you can get chip on stuff, and then it's even more scary. Like,
Yeah, and kind of between like these 2 points, like between Liverpool and EOIC, one of the reasons Urshifu picked up so much is because people were pairing it with Icy Wind Flutter, who's like, I think Icy Wind is the best speed control that you could be having with Urshifu, if you're allowed to do it. It's hard into like things that are way faster, like opposing Tailwind teams, but like chipping things and then having like the strong hit is just like so much better because it can just put stuff in range of Urshifu, or like having such a fast mon that would like kind of force defensive play just sets up pins so easily with the mon that can hit through protect. Like there isn't defensive play to it, and it's just so insane. And I assume there's something I don't remember what we put up. I'm sure there's examples with Flutter soon.
absolutely.
Or like bundle.
So,
Oh no, the next one actually is bundle. Yeah.
yeah, there we are. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah. So this one, this was like one of my favorite teams from Reggie. I was playing after seeing this on the stream at LASC. I was playing a version of it with just like basically the same thing but Scarf Lander instead of the Flutter main slot, which is also similar to like the original kind of thing of this 6 was Shillang's, I think it was Peoria regionals. He got top 4, but he had half flame instead of the Urshifu. But the Urshifu just works so well here. Like you got 2 fake outs for it to abuse. You got Heatran to hit the fairies. You got Bundle to set up those same kind of like fast pins I was on about before. I mean, yeah, just got everything for Ursh.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll look at
on top of just like, yeah, it's just good Pokemon to put with it as well. I think Rillaboom is probably my favorite fake out partner to have with it.
Yeah.
Like I think Incinersh is kind of like whatever. Like you would use Incin because it's just the best fake out mon in the game. Iron Hands Ursh is very good because you kind of like don't you have Fighting Dark, but you have another Fighting, so you don't like obviously you can't click Fighting and Dark at the same time with Urshifu, but now you can with Iron Hands.
Yeah.
And like it's still got the pivot with the Volt Switch if you want. When I used the version of that team, I had Volt Switch on it, and that felt really good.
Nice. Yeah,
but
I think that makes sense. So, yeah, I think it likes partners.
One...
I think it really likes partners that can pivot. I think like
for sure.
You do sort of
you can like get the fake out hit off, then get your speed control and stuff like that.
Absolutely, you kind of like to keep Urshifu in for quite a while. Like it's not like a particularly switch heavy mon. So I think good switching partners are really good for helping it and keeping it alive. Especially like we'll talk about it in the piloted session, but like when to let it just go down to its sash and when to just actually hedge your bets and get out of there. But it's
what I was saying with Rillaboom is that like you can have the fake out plus hit turn 1, and then you have the option of like detect wood hammer or like just sucker punch grassy glide into fast things that just picks stuff up. It's like you get that insane value turn 1, and then you can also just chip stuff away like for future turns. Like it's such a threatening lead. Like I had games in Reg E and Reg F where I would just lead the 2 of them and they'd still be on the field at the end of the game because like you could just do that sometimes. It was bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I think like you say dual.
I'm sad I can't run Rillaboom on my Rhydon teams.
Absolutely, yeah. I do. I'm a big Rillaboom guy as well, so it's a shame, but also I'm also a Rhydon player, so know the feeling. But I think
especially like Miracle Seed. I'm not a big fan of like supportive Rillaboom, but like when you just max out its attack, it's like it's a monster.
Yeah,
grassy seed. Like
I've used the same Rillaboom. I've taken it to 2 majors, and both times I've run AV but max adamant just because I love the damage. Like,
no, I'm with you on that. I would feel like I can never use it without max attack.
And all this like 36 plus stuff, that's no good. We are on an Urshifu chat. So let's
176 is not a real number like that. Yeah, 176 is not an attack stat. Put it up a bit more.
Yeah, come on, keep going. So let's look at Martin's team, which is this is cool as well with the crest.
Yeah. So the crest is like the worst part of the team. Like I remember in the team report he said that it should be an Amoonguss, and then I ended up playing like a similar version. Like there was a very similar team in Reggie. Like this archetype kind of started here, like the AV Heatran Sun with like slow Torn. And then it carried on to Reggie, and like yeah, Cresselia disappeared. It's not a good mod on the team, but I think it's a. So Urshifu is obviously here because it's a Sun Tailwind team, and you don't want Rapid Strike on that, so you use Single Strike. But it kind of just works out anyways, because again, the Heatran's there to hit the fairies, and I think this is like one of my favorite archetypes of the generation is these like Sun Tailwind teams. Like I brought even though it wasn't really a thing anymore, like I didn't have a team for Liverpool. Like the night before, I built something very similar to this. It was just like Torn, Heatran, Urshifu, then like it was like Cornerstone, Rillaboom for a graph were my other three, but that doesn't really matter. And it just fits in like so well with this archetype. But this isn't really like these types of teams don't really they don't like bring out the strengths of Urshifu as much as like I guess the previous one did. But it's just again just showing like the flexibility of it. Like it's just another one where it thrives anyways, even though it's not like the focus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it does one thing it does highlight, even though like you said the crest is maybe not the highlight of the team, is the fact that you can operate in Trick Room as well because of that sort of middling speed stat, which is quite a cool thing about the Urshifus is that you can sort of go with whichever speed control you prefer to.
Yeah, Urshifu in Trick Room is so fun. And I guess that's something I hadn't really thought about because I've never really like thought about the team much with the crests. I've always like used it with the Mungus. So that is a really cool thing, yeah. But like, I mean, I think the next team kind of touches on that a bit more, right? Or the next team's plural.
Yeah, this is when it finally started getting its wins.
This kind of archetype is kind of what like became Miraidon in my opinion.
Yeah,
but, like this is kind of where it started. Was like you got hands for a graph, Ursh. This like these kind of things really like take advantage of Ursh is like being usable in and out of Trick Room. Like you got the Icy Wind Flutter to set up those same pins as before, but you can also go into Trick Room and you've got the Iron Hands with Fake Out. And who's the last one? I don't remember.
Specs Goldie.
Gold Go. Yeah. You got the Golden Go to hit the fairies. Like this is just kind of. I love these kinds of builds with Farig and like Ursh and stuff.
Yeah, it really is like.
Sure, you could.
Very early.
This is kind of where it started. This is like I love this game so much. Yeah, no, this is Miraidon.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll get to Florian Steve in a second, but that is also kind of Miraidon.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so here is Florian.
I was struggling so like, I really like those types of teams in Reg E. Then I was struggling to like find it like make it a similar thing work in Reg F. But this is how it worked in Reg F. Like the same six. Like I think one of the Artor around the start of the format, then people kind of forgot about it. But like, it came and won a regional later on, anyways. Cause it's just very good. And yeah, if you look at it, it's another Miraidon team, isn't it? Blood Moon's the Iron Hands, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, but also, I mean, Blood Moon was also on the earliest Miraidon builds. I remember one of the first Miraidon teams we saw do well was like this 6, but Miraidon was slotted in one of, I don't remember which slot, but it was a slot, was a Miraidon.
Yeah, I think it was the
You probably didn't have Flutter with it.
The Flutter, yeah. This early Miraidon builds were interesting. Like, all Terra Electric, so if you wanted ground partners, so there's the Blood Moon, but...
Mm-hmm. But it's the same kind of thing, where like, you got like the crazy fast pieces they have to respect with the Flutter, and you got the crazy slow pieces they have to respect, and then it kind of sits in the middle and just works either way, which is like why, obviously like Rapid Strike could also do this, but I mean they chose Dark because it's cooler, and Dark, because Rapid Strike's also been used on a lot of these kind of like fast and slow teams now, like with like slow bulky Mystic Order and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I think
Dark
like,
just hits everything. Dark's
it's really cool. You always see it like on such a variety of builds, but like it really does like it's a great abuser of both forms of speed control, fast and slow. And then this is when we're getting into Reg G now, and some early Miraidon stuff.
Sure this one looks, I don't know about you, but this looks like less of a Miraidon team to me. Like I don't know which one he was meant to be Miraidon.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Darkish was like used until like Worlds. Rapid Strike wasn't really on Miraidon teams. It was always Darkish, or if they had an Ursh at all. And like, I don't really know. I think people just didn't really see the value in having a water type on Miraidon teams because like it's just another thing that can't hit grass types. But like, you've got the fire type to cover it. But before that, it was just like Dark's just a consistent type to have. Like, why wouldn't you want an Urshifu with your Tailwind and like team, right? With your Fake Out. guy,
Absolutely. Like it's
and it just kind of slotted right in.
it's the start of like Miraidon is scary. Why don't we put it with something? We'll put something that hits through protect with it. Like
Mhm.
I think
I feel like with a lot of these teams, it's like I mean, I kind of pick these ones out because it's kind of just like seeing how this specific archetype grew.
yeah
Because I guess then we'll eventually get to my team, but it's like a lot of them, it's kind of, Urshi's kind of just slotted on because it kind of makes more sense in Rapid Strike. Like it just shifts the matchups a little bit,
yeah
or like it just made more sense in building at the time. And but it is just showing its flexibility, isn't it?
yeah absolutely. And like I say
This
like
looks
how
like
the
this is
team starts to evolve,
a team.
starts to start looking a lot like your team. In fact, it is the six. Like
Yeah,
um,
which isn't quite this, but this is what mine was. This is where it came from.
yeah for sure.
Was like playing a Guardi on best of three ladder at one point. It's like, oh, that's a cool team. Let me save that open team list, and then yeah, that was that. Um, but yeah, this is like obviously the Iron Shreds is in theory a very good partner with Ursh because you like you hit the fairies. It also works really well with Mirai. You get fairy plus ground if you choose to lock in Gleam, or just like it beats up like Mirai. That's what it's actually there for, though.
Yeah.
Then also, yeah, you got double fake out to abuse with Ursh. I definitely abuse that all the time with this team. It's so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like stuff just can't
You got the same Farigiraf, like multiple control. I don't know if there's much more to say about the archetype. We've kind of spoken about the same team for like 4 teams in a row. I did just
absolutely.
kind of
But yeah, this brings us to
how it's shaped, like where
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and then that sort of develops into yours, and then these are just some couple more bonus ones I want to look at. It's just like it's Gen 8, it's Gen 8 presence.
Yeah, these I thought was interesting because this was I did play Gen 8, but I don't like remember loads of it, and I wasn't very good at it. But this is like what I remember from like because Ursh was weird in Gen 8 because it wasn't great with Dynamax, and it wasn't great when the restricteds were there. So there's like only really a few formats where it like super dominated. And this was one of them, I guess. Like, and even then, this team only existed like early Series 7. It stopped existing like
yeah, but it's really cool.
But it's just like the idea. These ideas have just carried on into like what we still see on Darkish teams now. So I thought it was worth talking about. Like, so mainly the first 3. You've got the Urshifu, who can't hit fairies. You got the Nihilego, who can't hit steals but can hit fairies very well. So those just like pair well together. There's another rock poison that we'll talk about in a second as well that's being used now. And then Thunderous is your speed control. Like, obviously Icy Wind or Tailwind isn't as insane as Max Airstream was, but it's the same kind of idea.
Definitely,
like those 3 were just like so insane offensively together. And then like not that I mean the Fairy and the I think Rodon were also like key pieces. I think the Glass Street might have been a flex slot, but
yeah, and like you see, like the electric,
just very good together.
Like the strong electric type with your Urshifu as well. Like there's definitely similarities.
Oh, true. That's Miraidon. Yeah,
that's your Miraidon.
This is just another Miraidon team.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's just a Miraidon team.
Dynamax it like you Terra Miraidon every game as well.
Yeah.
We go to the next one.
This is like the archetypal hyper offense team from Regaf. Like it's everywhere.
I kind of forgot about this until we started looking into this. Shoutouts to Sam, by the way, probably the best pilot of this team in the world.
Of course, yeah. Like, the best hyper offense player in Britain, at least. Like
absolutely. Like there's no competition.
He will love us playing
this game. Nihilego right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like this team was great if you were brave enough to play it. Because had a lot of moves that could miss, but like Ursh was super important.
Everything just synergizes so perfectly, and like Ursh is a big part of it. Because you got Tailwind and Sun for the Chi-Yu, and not for the Flood, because it's speed booster, isn't it? But yeah, with Icy Wind. So there's the Icy Wind Ursh again. But so you wanted Sun on Torn for the Chi-Yu, so you don't want Rapid Strike. So you use Single Strike. Single Strike was also good for hitting like the fire resist. It's like hitting the fire types, like the Incinerals, they're resisting Chi-Yu. So like those 4 together kind of just slotted in perfectly, and then Fluttermane on top of that just as more offense. Like you got Fluttermane Chi-Yu as an option. You got the Icy Winds for Ursh, the Icy Winds for Glamora, and then Oakmont Wellspring. Like it's Oakmont Wellspring, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's another way. It hits the rest of the fire resist, doesn't it? It hits the rocks and it hits the waters.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just yeah, this team was terrifying, and then
Incredible team, yeah.
so
This team was part of why I brought AV Heatran to Liverpool. I was just trying to hard counter that.
yeah, makes a
Like,
lot
oh
of
yeah, they
sense.
can't really beat Fairy AV Heatran probably. I don't know. I haven't tested it. It did work out in the end. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. So yeah, we've gone through sort of its evolution and obviously looked at a couple of the cooler examples, and now we'll look at how we use this thing. I think yeah, we were saying before the call there
Right.
is
So you bring it out on the field and then you click either Wicked Blow or CC
yeah.
into a slot that hopefully doesn't resist it, and yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
it works out.
Yeah, there's
And
not
then
it's
you get
not
roll
a
down to
lot
Sash,
of
and maybe you can do it again.
yeah.
Or maybe you have to click Sucker, but click Sucker's not that bad.
No,
So
there's I
just
think there's
it
not
is
a
just
lot of
like
nuance to what you do in terms of like attacking, but like one thing I'm quite interested in is like sort of when to conserve the sash, or maybe when to accept that you're being brought down to your sash. So yeah,
yeah, it's
sort
like
of
do you use it early game for that just like value, then like clean up with the other ones, or do you use it as cleanup because it is one of the best cleanup ones like ever made.
yeah. So I think
This is an interesting way
yeah.
to
So
think of it.
would you say it's like very much like board state dependent? Like maybe get an early attack down, and then if your sash has been broken, then try and get it out of there and bring it back in later
Um,
for cleanup duties, or it's like you just go and make if you
in
get three
Reg
attacks,
G,
like
yeah, in Reg G, it just very much comes down to like knowing your matchups.
yeah,
Like in some matchups, you do just want to trade it early on. Uh, like in international finals, like you saw me doing that. I really messed it up, but it's like that was the game plan. Was trade Ursh early on to get Valley down on like the ones that can actually do damage. And a lot of teams are similar to that, where like a lot of Koraidon teams, especially, I lead into Ursh into Koraidon quite a lot, and just like try and get some immediate value. Or do you have it in the back? Because a lot of the time you can kind of just like people love. So this is a very Miraidon way to think about it, but people are forced to lead their fast things into Miraidon, or like use them up early to beat the Miraidon if that's what you're threatening. And if you can deal with those, even if it means like trading your restricted, trading something else, like Ursh against the slower bits can you do very well.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I fully agree. Like you see in, I think was it game 3 against Wolfie, you traded it for the Coridon effectively.
Kinda. I mean, you switched out the sucker punch there.
Yeah.
I think I kind of like made the wrong play there, but that was it was the idea.
It went down the same turn. It's fine. Cool. Let's now look at the kind of things to surround your Urshifu with. Some of the best partners. We spoke about all of these sort of as we've gone through.
So we talked about So like we spoke about Nihilego, Gamora, Golden Go before. Heatran's like a little bit different because obviously you got Flash Cannon to hit the fairies, but also Heat Wave like synergizes really well with it because it's like they're just completely unrelated types. Like Fire, Dark fighting, there's nothing similar going on there. So it's just, and it's a strong move as well, so they have to respect it. But the resists aren't going to be anything similar to the Ursh, so you just get a lot of neutral damage down, and it's very good. Free we didn't like. Okay, so we didn't actually talk about Free that much, even though it was on all of these teams. But like, if you can't fake out Ursh, you can't intimidate Ursh. What is your defensive counterplay to Ursh, right? It's be faster, but if you Photograph Ursh is such a strong pairing if you are able to call them not leading their faster things. You can just like take a kill turn one, or like if you're able to navigate to that board when the faster things aren't on the field, that's incredible as well. Against a lot of Terrapagos teams at the moment, that's kind of what I do, is try and get like Ursh in a good spot, and Photograph helps a lot with that. Then you can just helping hand murder a slot and like call what they're doing on the other one.
Absolutely. You see,
Fake up.
yeah, I've like you put them next to each other and you just help hand wicked blow, and that's like there's not a lot that takes that neutrally and lives. Like,
yeah, or like if you Terra Dark, it's just killing everything.
absolutely.
Like, it does like 90% to Terra Kali Ice. I wish it killed. I really wish it killed, but it doesn't.
Can't
But,
quite get there. Yeah.
into the bulkiest Pokemon ever made. That's not too bad. Is it?
No, I think you can take that. But yeah, I think like it really is like you sort of categorize them like stuff to hit. It's resists. You've got long boys. No, you've got one priority. You've got photograph that helps it out by not letting it be faked out. You've got your own fake out to bite more opportunities.
Yeah.
And you've got your speed control.
Raging Bolt we actually didn't talk about really at all, other than like Electroweb being good. But kind of I was saying with Rillaboom of like the strength of double priority. That comes with the Raging Bolt as well. because a lot of time you can't really fit another priority mon with Ursh because you can't have a Chien power because you need like you want Sash on your Ursh, and that's like the other really strong like priority option. You can have like an extreme suit mon, I guess, but we haven't really seen that much. So the options like sometimes you have Grassclave with Ruler, or you can have Thunderclap with Raging Bolt and double up slots with that. Like
Yeah.
270 base power priority moves. That's insane.
Yeah, and there's one
And
special,
again,
one physical. It's
similarly
just like,
to,
yeah.
yeah. And similarly to Heatran, there's like really no crossover between like things that take on both of them. So they're just like nice together. They're not like insane together. They're just nice to have together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think like it proves like we've got so many partners here on here, and like yeah, we don't even like there could be space for more. Like it really is super versatile. Like
Or is another pivot. Like if you have Volt Switch on it, which I quite like on the AB sets, you can just it's another thing that you can just detect switch out with, which is pretty good.
yeah, absolutely. And like yeah, there's one thing, we didn't even really go that far into like hard trick room with it on. Like it's just insane. It's got so many potential partners. Like you run min speed, like 0 IV speed, like it's pretty slow. Like it's slow enough that, like you can definitely have it on a hard trick room team.
I wish it was slower. I didn't touch it, but like on my EUIC team last year, it was the same 6 times. I had Scary Face on my Torn instead of Rain Dance, and that was so fun. Like some Trick Room Mons just were slower than -2 Ursh. So,
yeah,
like they couldn't get Trick Room. I just make it go slow, or like I'd Scary Face the Lando or the Gogapon or something like that. But yeah, being able to self Scary Face your Dark type is very very fun.
Definitely right. I
think
think
that happens a lot.
Absolutely. So I think that brings us to the end of our Urshifu Dark Masterclass. Yeah, really, really impressive mon. Like, really great to use. Like, it's really like I think we've really highlighted its flexibility, and like its merits over Water Urshifu. I think we're both Dark Urshifu believers here. So like, it's an easy sell for me, but yeah, it is. Like, but yeah, so thanks so much.
There's enough like actual useful information in that rambling there.
No, definitely. Like, it really is interesting. Like, you've got a lot of experience using them on. I'm sure people find this really valuable. So, without any further ado, we will get out of here. Just any more shout outs from you, Dyl, and your socials if you want to give them out, and then we'll get on out of here.
Shout outs to Bristol locals.
Hey,
best locals in the world.
Strongest locals in the country.
Shout out to all locals as well.
Cool. Well, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at the Postman Pete. Start streaming now as well, so come hang out there, and we'll see you next time for the next one. Thank you very much.